Today we will be discussing the first industrial revolution. This is a time period from the late 1700s through the mid 1800s that will transform our nation's economy and propel us to the success of a well-developed nation. The main ideas that we're going to focus on are what is an industrial revolution, and what did this mean for the United States? Examples of technological advancements during this time and the impact it had on the U.S. So what is an industrial revolution? It is a major breakthrough or permanent change in technology that leads to economic changes. So we've discussed in the past what a revolution means, and it's basically a change. And in this case, with an industrial revolution, it's how industry changes through new developments in technology. So this is where you're going to see a lot of inventions being made that make life easier and make production quicker. It started in Europe in the 1700s, and the U.S. being a new nation and having debt and a lot of different conflict and decisions to make, it kind of got the last piece of it. But in the U.S., it really started with Samuel Slater and his new faster way to make cotton into yarn, which transformed the textile industry and made it so that we could produce our own textiles. In the past, we traded with the British to get fabric from the textile industry. But in the United States, we had our own cotton in the South, and we could ship it to the North and in a factory really produce this fabric or the yarn as quickly as possible. So this made us, this created a booming textile industry within our own country. The economic success of the U.S. depended on the Industrial Revolution coming to the United States and not just staying in Great Britain, because then we'd be able to compete economically on a global scale. So what are some examples of technological change? One major one was the factory system, which is basically working on a large scale in one environment. So within one building, you're basically creating a product. And this was mainly seen in the textile industry, so creating fabrics from the cotton that's produced in the South. One of the most famous are the Lowell mills in Lowell, Massachusetts, and they were known for employing young female workers because they were able to work at cheaper wages, and they were called Lowell girls. Factory system dramatically increased production, and whenever you increase production, so how much stuff you make, you're able to sell more and make more money in less time. Most advancements were either in the textile industry, so producing fabrics made from cotton, or in the transportation industry. So for transportation, it actually linked raw goods like cotton to the factories in the north. So we're able to transport those raw materials more easily. So like I said, cotton to the north, and then also with developments like the Erie Canal, which is a waterway system, people set up industrial areas around those since they were able to drop off easier if the cities are right there. And this is actually how New York City got its start, is by being developed at a very important spot on the Erie Canal. So what is the impact on the United States? For one, we'll have less dependency on the British textile industry for their goods because we're able to make them in our own country. And because we're less dependent on them and their import tax, then we will be able to have economic gains due to these technological advancements. Also, because of the dependency on raw materials to support a booming textile industry, this is going to lead to an increase in the need for slavery, and that's going to become the pinnacle issue or the most important issue of the 19th century in the 1800s. Another huge impact on the U.S. is the growth of cities around transportation, resources, and methods. So as I mentioned before, the Erie Canal sparked a boom of New York City to start around those areas, because then you're able to get the stuff off of the boats on the canal and easily take them to factories where they could be produced. So it was very important to build near a canal because of the transportation, just like how the Nile River was really important to the Egyptians. You see the same pattern in the development of cities as you did with civilizations. So the first industrial revolution is incredibly important on the United States, and we will spend more talking about its connection with slavery and how that's going to lead to the Civil War. The Industrial Revolution never really ends, but there will be periods of time that we'll study and coin them the Second Industrial Revolution and talk about, are we currently in one today? So it's a good topic to learn about and relate to, since we're living in a ever-changing technological society.